Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Lily. I am so happy that you're here with me. In today's video, I am going to show you how to make a beautiful Valentine's Day project for your junk journal. We're going to make a junk journal topper, and we're going to use some junky junk. We are going to take some corrugated cardboard because lately this has been my go-to junky item to make tons of things. I started, I think in November or December, where I made some Christmas projects with the corrugated cardboard. Well, I have so many ideas, and Valentine's is no exception. What we're going to do is take some junky corrugated cardboard. We're going to cut out some rough shaped hearts just like this, super easy. We are going to go through all of the steps, so don't go away. I'm going to show you step by step how to do this. And then we are going to make, oh, you're going to love this. I have them right here because you know how I like to show you what we're going to work on so that you could see and we can do it together. So I made some junk journal toppers. OMG. Look at how cute they look. It is 2 junky corrugated cardboard heart cutouts. And then those have been glued to some more junky junk. For example, I have it right here. I have some packaging. This was from, where is it? Right here. This is from a mailer, but you can also use old chipboard. The best kind is the kind that comes on the back of paper pads. I save all of that stuff. Or maybe some sturdy cereal box or packaging. That's what this is. It's just packaging. And then I took the corrugated hearts and then did some distressing. Ooh, so many things, so many layers. You are going to love these. I have a video of something very similar that I uploaded just recently. They are junk journal toppers, and I will link it up above for you. But these are just in time for Valentine's Day. Not only can you use these for your junk journals as toppers, but you can also use them to display like home decor. If you want to put them on your wall, you just glue a little hook and then you can just display it, or you can put it on a little frame stand. Look at how cute. So many different uses for these. Okay, did I show you the other one? Here's the other one. So, and I just used, I embellished with things that I have in my stash. So your stash is different from my stash, but I hope that this inspires you to create something similar. Are you ready to get started? Gather your supplies and join me on the craft table. Let's go.
I just love how pretty and romantic and beautiful these junk journal toppers turned out. They're a little bit grungy, a little bit shabby, but I just love them. I love all the junky bits that I used as well. So we've got some junky cardboard, corrugated cardboard, some doilies, old music paper, and then I used a lot of little floral embellishments to decorate. So gather your supplies. Your stash, like I mentioned, is going to be a little bit different from mine. But gather what you have and let's work on something similar. Or maybe you have exactly what I have. Either way, I hope this brings you inspiration, especially because Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And this would not only make a beautiful junk journal topper, but also a great piece of decor in your home. I use 2 different types of metal embellishments here. And one of them is a brad, the one that's on the left-hand side, and I show you exactly what type of brads I use in that other video, and I'll have that in the description area below. I linked it just a little bit ago. The other metal embellishment is not a brad, but coming up I'm going to show you exactly what I use for today's project. The first thing we are going to start with is corrugated cardboard, and you'll need to draw a heart, and the hearts can be any size that you want. Mine are approximately 3 by 4 inches. I didn't use a template. I just drew a heart. I draw hearts all day long, and so I've mentioned so many times how the heart is my favorite shape. And so just draw a heart. And if the first one doesn't turn out, keep drawing it until you come up with a heart that you love. And now I'm just going to roughly cut around the shape. It does not have to be perfect. Just trim around your hand-drawn design and then clean up the edges. It's okay if it's not perfect. We're not looking for perfection here. And I think that the grungier your heart looks, the better. It adds to that shabby element. Once you draw and cut out your first heart, use it as a template to now draw your second heart. And then it's just easier. You might struggle with the first one, but the more you practice, the better it's going to get. I'm pointing out that I have the corrugation on that cardboard in different directions. If you are going to add 2 hearts to your card front, I think it's best if you have some of the corrugation running vertically and then the other heart going horizontally. It adds more interest to your topper, and I think it looks better that way. But you do you. You do what works best for you. And you don't have to do 2 hearts on a topper, but I just love the way they're joined together. You can do a single heart if you want to. So now, cut out all the hearts that you need. And I have these scissors that are supposed to be really easy to cut through. I've used them so much that the little coil doesn't spring back anymore. But these scissors are typically great because it doesn't cause a lot of strain on your hand. Maybe if I grease it up, maybe some WD-40 will kind of loosen up that coil. But those are typically really good scissors to use, especially if you have your scissors that cause you a little bit of strain. Now I'm going to remove some of that top layer paper from the corrugated cardboard because I want to expose the corrugation. I'm not going to completely remove it. I'm focusing primarily around the edges of the heart and just peeling away some of that top layer. Some corrugated cardboard is a lot easier than others, but just give yourself a little bit of time and just work at peeling it. I'm using a little hand pick to help me along the way and to lift the edges just a little bit. So you can remove as much or as little of that top layer as you want. You can even remove 100% of that top layer. This is going to be your project, so you do what makes you happy. The next step is I'm going to distress it with a little bit of white paint. I like using this chalk paint by Folk Art, and I'm just about finished with it. I have to go down to the bottom of the little bottle so I can get some of that paint. You can use regular white acrylic paint or even white gesso if you like. And because I was almost finished with this little bottle, I added a few drops of water just so I can stretch that chalk paint. And again, just kind of haphazardly adding the paint. I'm basically dry brushing it on there. I don't want it to be 100% coated in the white paint. I'd like for some of that cardboard to show through. So just give it a nice, easy dry brush, focusing around the edges, just a little bit in the center. So once you get it to look exactly how you love it, we can now move forward to the very next step. And that is grabbing yourself. Let's see, what do I do next? I did this video a few days ago. Okay, grab yourself some chipboard or some sturdy cardboard, not corrugated cardboard, more like a chipboard type of cardboard, like the kind you get from sturdy cereal boxes. And I have cut mine down to 5 by 7. The junk journal size that I typically like to work with is 8 by 6 or even 9 by 6. So 5 by 7 works really well for me. Actually, is it 5 by 7 or 5 by 6? Oh my gosh, I was talking and wasn't paying attention. Let me go back. Okay, I just double checked. And for this specific project, I cut it down to 5 by 6. And like I said, my journals are typically 8 by 6 or 9 by 6. You cut your boards to the size of the type of journal that you make. And this size fits perfectly on the tops of my junk journals. And so some I have made in the past 5x7, but these today are 5x6. And now the next step is I am going to somewhat collage on the front of this piece of cardboard, and I've decided to use old music paper, and I've just torn around the edges and to give it an even more grungy and shabby look. And I really like the contrast there, the clean edges of that cardboard backing and then the torn edges of the music paper. See how pretty that looks? I have the two there as a guide. And for this one here, I am going to run a gold stitch through my sewing machine. On my two samples that I have, one I stitched and the other I didn't. But I really, really love the way the machine stitching looks on my projects, especially when I use the gold thread. Now, grab yourself a little doily. I have a ton of these doilies that I purchased from Paper Mart. In a previous video, I said that I purchased these from an Etsy seller. Not these. I had them confused for different doilies. These I purchased from papermart.com, and I did purchase them a while ago for some wedding cards that I was asked to make. So now once you've glued down the doily, now you can begin to position where you want your corrugated hearts. And you can position these however you like, one on top of the other. Looks really good. And I try to keep the hearts within the 5x6 cardboard. But you're going to see in just a moment when I begin to glue down that I went outside the edge more than I wanted to, but that's okay, it's still going to work. So I am going to distress the edges of the heart even more. And that's because I wanted the hearts to pop against the background a little bit more than they were. They were kind of blending in. So now I'm going to take some Tim Holtz Distress ink, and I think this is in Vintage Photo. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that dark staining all around the edges. And this is really going to help make those hearts pop against the background and even pop against each other. You could see in my samples how I have one positioned over the other. And so that contrast looks really good. Here they are side by side, and you can see the difference with and without the distress ink. I like the look with the distress ink. Either way, they are still going to look fantastic. So just a little bit of distressing goes a long way. And now the next step is to place and position over. And when I glued it, and you'll see in a moment, I'm going to use a hot glue gun. I want this to dry quickly, and this particular glue is really strong. I think it's too strong. So when I positioned it down, notice how on the left it kind of protrudes more than I wanted that. But that's okay. It's still going to fit nicely within the parameters of my junk journal. But if you are working, if you're going to be working on these, try to position your hearts more within the piece of cardboard. But we make it work anyway. And now positioning the second heart over it. You could use any adhesive that you want, but I've decided to use the glue gun with this. I have it, so let's just put it to use. And look at how beautiful they look. And now it's up to you to embellish however it is that you want. I love adding paper flowers, artificial flowers, to the fronts of my junk journals. And I do this to all the different junk journals. Even when I don't make specific toppers for my junk journal covers, I will add flowers directly to the junk journal. So now I'm going to play around with the positioning and the placement of these flowers. I don't want to fuss too much over the type of flowers I'm going to use, I have this cute little jewelry box that I picked up at a thrift store a while back. And it holds all of my tiny little flowers and then some extras because I've been working with these a lot lately. So now, once I decide on the placement of my flowers, I'm going to hot glue them in place. Other times I'll use the Ultimate Glue. It is a non-toxic super white glue. But I also like the glue gun because it dries even faster. And now playing around, adding different flowers. I'll use some of the larger flowers in the lower part of the topper. And then I start filling in with these really cute, tiny roses. And I've got different ones. I have some from Tim Holtz. Others are from the craft stores. Some that I've received in Happy Mail. So just kind of to fill in the gaps. And the flowers add a really pretty and soft romantic touch. It almost looks as though the flowers are growing from within the hearts. And it's just, it's just so pretty. The next step is I'm going to add a sentiment. On this one, I had an old Heidi Swapp sentiment that read Together. And then this one, I used a metal embellishment and that read Love. Use any sentiment that you have. Go through your stash. It can be a sentiment sticker. It can be these little wood chippies. These are old. They're from Michael's, and I've had them for a long, long time, maybe close to 10 years. And it was really hard for me to remove it from that paper backing that they're adhered to. And I broke it, but I'm still going to work with it. I'm just going to glue it. I'm going to glue it back together. In fact, I did the same thing with the Together sentiment. It had split in half. But with glue, you can perform miracles. And if you don't have wood chippies or sentiment metal embellishments, you can also use die cuts. That forever word, that black forever word is a die. So go through your stash and use what you have. So now I'm going to kind of piece it together like a little puzzle to make sure that I have all of the pieces I need to spell out the word forever with these broken little wood chippies. The other forever is the one that's in black. That one's just cut using an old die, and I just ran it through the Big Shot on black cardstock. I'm going to flatten the area where I'm going to adhere the forever wood chippy, and I am going to attach it with the Ultimate Glue. I'm not going to use hot glue for this. This hot glue is super, super hot, and it only has one setting, really hot. So I'm going to use my favorite adhesive. It's the Ultimate Glue. And this is perfect because it works on all types of surfaces, works with wood, glass, metal, plastic, paper. And because this is an intricate embellishment, I don't want to get hot glue on my fingers. And this glue also dries clear, and it really doesn't take that long for it to completely dry, and it dries clear, which is what I want. So now I'm going to start with the center piece, and then it'll be easier for me to add the two little broken ends. So even if I get excess glue that's just coming out and it looks like it's getting all clumped up, I'm going to clean it up. But I'm not too concerned about it because it does dry clear. So if you have embellishments that have cracked or broken, they can be salvaged. And maybe it even adds to that distressed and grungy look. We can make it work. Yeah, these are so old. Sometimes when I purchase things, I have a certain project in mind, but then I get distracted and I start working on other projects, and then some of my embellishments become neglected, and that's what happened with these. But I've been moving things around, kind of going through my stash, which I do periodically. I kind of thumb through what I have so that I can bring out some of those neglected items and use them in new ways. So there you go. My forever is now forever glued down, and it looks good, and no one's ever going to know. I'm going to add a little bit more of the glue so it can creep under the sentiment to make sure that it really, really grabs onto the heart. Excuse me while I take a sip of my coffee. And then I'm just grabbing a little paintbrush, cleaning up any of the excess glue, and then making sure that there's plenty of adhesive behind the sentiment. And you can tell that on the heart that's just above that reads together, I also used the ultimate glue for that one. And it looks great. It doesn't have blobs of glue. And it's going to turn out beautiful. I'm now going to take a few more of the little tiny cute little flowers, and I'm going to continue to embellish the hearts. And now this may be a little controversial, but I'm taking my little hammer and I'm going to smush the flowers down. The reason why is they're kind of high and pokey in the center, and I want them to be a little more distressed. So I'm just hammering down the centers of these little flowers. And have you ever grabbed like some flowers and like they're perfect, but they're really high in the center? So that's why I'm kind of flattening them down a little bit. And not too much pressure, just a little bit of pressure on the centers. And now they look even grungier. I'm going to fill in a few more gaps with some of these little green leaves. Kind of cover up some of those little empty spaces. And now I feel that it is perfect. It has enough of the foliage. And now I'm going to move on to the next step. I have this little bottle of glitter glue. It came in a little paint kit for my grandkids. And one of my granddaughters just loves glitter glue. I mean, loves it. And so I try to always have some on hand for her. But I thought I would give it a try and add a little bit of the glitter glue on the sentiment and also on some of these flowers. And if I have it, why not use it? Even though it was for my granddaughter. And she worked on a little project and she just loves adding glitter to all the things that she does. And I really liked how it looked. And so I thought, oh, maybe I should give this glitter glue a try. And yes, I love how it turned out. In fact, I also used it on the Together sentiment. And it kind of comes out in little blobs. But I'll take my little paintbrush again and spread it out. And this will actually allow for the glitter to spread out nice and evenly over the sentiment and also over the little flowers. I could have taken it one step more and sprinkled even more glitter over the glitter glue, but I didn't want to overdo it for this one. I love glitter too, and I think maybe that's where she got it from, because I just love the glitter, love all of the shiny and beautiful sparkly things. So just making sure that it is spread nice and evenly so it looks good once it dries. And now here is one of my favorite gold acrylic paints. It is Extreme Sheen 24 karat gold acrylic paint by Deco Art. I love it. It sparkles like 24 karat gold. I kid you not. I've talked about how my favorite gold shine was by Heidi Swapp, but she doesn't make that anymore. And I have been on the hunt to find the perfect gold shine splatters, and this is one of the top contenders. I absolutely love it. Like, I love it so much. I'm going to water it down a little bit. I'm going to use my favorite little fan brush. This brush, I find, is the best at adding splatters. And I just love adding all of the gold shine splatters on all of my projects. So this is really messy. I end up getting splatters all over the place, but that's just what my desk area looks like. If you don't want splatters all over the place, including on yourself and your clothing, wear an apron to protect your clothing, and maybe do this in a box. But you know what? I'm just winging it, and I don't mind having gold splatters on everything. Sometimes I even get it on my coffee. So for my coffee, I do have to try to be more careful. Sometimes I'll put a piece of cardboard over my coffee cup to avoid getting too much splatters. So I'm going to quickly dry it with my little heat tool. And now I'm going to embellish with some of these beautiful metal embellishments. These are not book corners and they are not brads. These are actually made to decorate wooden plaques. You can find this specific style at Hobby Lobby in the aisle where they sell all of the wood plaques and embellishments. There's a specific aisle just for that. And so they have this wall where they have all of these little metal embellishments hanging on the wall to decorate the corners of your wooden plaques. But these have been my absolute favorite for using as faux book corners. And they glue down really, really easy with the Ultimate Glue, because like I mentioned earlier, the Ultimate Glue is perfect for metal embellishments. Look at all the things that it's good for. It is non-toxic, so it has practically no scent, and it's great for metal, glass, plastic, paper. I have an Amazon storefront if you would like some of this glue. I'll have a direct link for you down below. But yes, these are from Hobby Lobby. You may be able to find them somewhere else. I'll try to do a quick search, and maybe if I can find some on Amazon, I will have that link for you. But if you have a craft store nearby, check that aisle where they have all of the wood projects and see if they have these in your craft store. But they are absolutely beautiful, especially if you don't have any, or if you don't want to use book corners, or if you don't have some of the brads. In the previous video where I made the other corrugated cardboard junk journal toppers, I used brads that look like book corners. And that's the one I used on the topper in the upper right hand side. You see that little book corner embellishment? That's actually a brad. But I have searched high and low for those and I can't find them. I have had those for a long, long, long time. Like 15 years. So that's why I'm showing you alternatives. And I'm pointing out here that the glue dries clear, because on this little heart embellishment with, the heart metal embellishment, there was a lot of glue spewing from the back of that embellishment, but it dried completely clear. So don't worry about all of the white glue that may show through, especially on this one that I'm working on. It is going to dry 100% clear. I do rub off some of the excess because I want to show you. And I'm going to place something heavy for just a couple minutes to kind of weigh it down so it really grabs onto the cardboard. And it was only a couple minutes, just the amount of time it took for me to make a cup of coffee. And now with my cloth, I just wiped off some of the excess and it's beginning to dry clear. And doesn't that look absolutely beautiful? I love how it turned out. So if you have metal embellishments, use what you have, okay? And now I'm going to show you how easy it is for you to use on any type of junk journal that you work on. Whether it is an existing book, this is a Reader's Digest. It might be this one is the perfect size for the Reader's Digest. The other one, because that heart is coming off the side too much, maybe it won't work for this particular size. So just remember to keep that in mind when you're positioning or placing the hearts over the topper. This is my current junk journal for 2025. I made it from a cereal box and scrapbooking paper, flowers in a frame, and then my letter L. And see how perfect this one would be right over the junk journal. It looks so beautiful. And I will judge a book by its cover, because if it's a junk journal, you know I'm going to judge the book by its cover. I want it to be amazing right on the cover. You guys are awesome. I hope that this inspires you to create your own junk journal toppers. Let me know down below if you've already created some. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!